When economist Adam Smith wrote his famous book, The Wealth of Nations, back in the 1770s, he likely didn't get mail featuring striking images of starving children, and walking around his hometown in Kirkcaldy, Fife, he wouldn't have been approached by people with clipboards asking for monthly donations. Today we're often reminded of others' needs rather than our own privileges. The super rich are donating more than ever, but what really happens to the money donated to charities? Are people learning the truth? Back in 2000, about 2/3 of American households donated to a charitable cause. Fast forward to 2018 and that number has dropped to just under half. That's roughly 20 million Americans who stopped giving. Despite the total amount of charitable giving in the United States reaching over $480 billion last year, there's been a decline in the number of donors, and the reason behind this isn't immediately clear. Recent research has raised questions about how charitable giving is tracked, highlighting a focus on big donors like billionaires while overlooking the smaller, more personal ways many Americans give. Traditional studies on philanthropy often only considers monetary donations to registered charities reported to the IRS, missing informal donations like direct giving to individuals or unregistered groups. This data gap is concerning for researchers and nonprofits puzzled by the apparent decrease in donors. This trend of more money coming from fewer, wealthier donors raises concerns that charitable giving is becoming dominated by the rich, potentially giving them even greater influence over society. However, the nonprofit sector is now exploring whether Americans are genuinely becoming less generous or if their giving is simply being undercounted. Several factors contribute to the decline in charitable giving, including a decrease in religious affiliation and the lingering effects of the Great Recession. While religious organizations historically receive the largest share of donations, their percentage has significantly dropped, reflecting broader changes in society. Moreover, the focus on wealthy donors often overshadows the significance of smaller contributions, while the rise of donor-advised funds further complicates the picture by allowing money to sit without immediate distribution. Additionally, organizations like the Zuckerberg-Chan Initiative, set up as a limited liability company rather than a charitable foundation, raises concerns about transparency and accountability in philanthropy. Experts caution against jumping to conclusions about what these trends mean, but they agree that the way we collect and interpret data on charitable giving needs to evolve. Big donations are not the only form of giving, and smaller, more personal ways of giving are often overlooked. Technology has changed dramatically. The ways people can give have changed dramatically, says Mei Chang-Ceo of Candid, a non-profit providing data on the sector. I think that our systems just haven't kept up, she told Recode. The bottom line is that charitable giving is changing, and our understanding and tracking of these changes need to catch up. Charitable giving has always played a significant role in American life, with a majority trusting charitable organizations to use their donations wisely. In 2005, Edelman's trust Barometer showed that 55% of Americans trusted NGOs more than government, media, or businesses. This year, only 45% of Americans reported trusting NGOs. The fact that only half of American households now donate to nonprofits might be linked to a broader decline in trust across all institutions. Trust in institutions has dropped from 48% in 1979 to just 27% in 2022, as people grow more skeptical about whether traditional institutions, including charities, can effectively address today's issues. There have been a number of crises around institutions being unable to deliver, and sometimes a lack of transparency and accountability, said Una Ossoli, Associate Dean for Research and International Programs at the Lilly Family School of Philanthropy. Younger Americans in particular are less inclined to give through formal charities, preferring direct donations. They might contribute to someone's GoFundMe for medical bills or help a neighbor with groceries via Nextdoor. This type of giving feels more personal and impactful. Knowing exactly who benefits from your donation can be psychologically rewarding. It can seem like your money goes further than when given to large causes or organizations like the American Red Cross. Although giving to crowdfunding campaigns isn't necessarily more effective than donating to nonprofits, many young people perceive it to be. A 2022 study by Independent Sector found that 57% of Gen Z believe direct giving has more impact than giving to nonprofits. Nonprofits need to address this shift by better communicating their impact. There is a need to build trust, raise awareness, and make giving more accessible to different types of households, not just the ones that have given in the past, Ossoli emphasized. In the age of crowdfunding, nonprofits face the challenge of proving their value and effectiveness to a more skeptical and direct giving-oriented public. One reason fewer people are donating to traditional non-profits can be a shift in attitudes towards where people prefer to direct their generosity. With the rise of online platforms like crowdfunding sites, direct person-to-person giving without intermediaries has become easier than ever. This trend exploded during the pandemic, with platforms like GoFundMe even creating separate categories for essentials like rent, food, and bills in response to increased demand. During COVID-19, the concept of mutual aid gained prominence, offering a different approach from traditional charity by emphasizing solidarity and equality among participants. Unlike philanthropy, where there can be a sense of hierarchy between donors and recipients, mutual aid fosters a sense of mutual support and shared responsibility. However, while online crowdfunding and mutual aid groups gained traction during the pandemic, these informal giving practices have deep roots in American history. Mutual aid groups, dating back centuries and often founded by marginalized communities, provided a wide range of essential services, from medical care to housing assistance to informal credit systems. Despite their significant contributions to community well-being, these practices have been largely overlooked in philanthropic studies. Since many of these donations aren't monetary and therefore not tax-deductible, they often go untouched in traditional measures of philanthropy. This raises important questions about the definition of giving. Are non-monetary contributions any less valuable than monetary ones? Recognizing and valuing these historical forms of giving is essential for understanding the full scope of philanthropy. Despite the richness of these giving traditions, philanthropic organizations are still struggling to engage communities of color and women effectively. There's often a disproportionate focus on attracting wealthy white donors, neglecting smaller donors and donors from diverse backgrounds. If traditional measurements indicate a decline in giving, it suggests that a significant amount of giving is happening outside conventional channels and deserves greater recognition and understanding. Informal giving has always been a part of American culture, but what's changed is our ability to track it. Thanks to digital platforms like crowdfunding sites and mobile payment systems, even everyday acts of kindness are leaving a digital trail. For Lucy Bernhole, a senior research scholar at Stanford University, the decline in traditional giving highlights a narrow view of philanthropy that focuses solely on monetary donations to non-profits. In a 2019 study, Bernhole found that Americans see philanthropy as more than just writing a check. Giving time, sharing skills, and helping neighbors are all considered acts of generosity, yet they often go unrecognized. Giving Tuesday, an organization advocating for broader definitions of generosity, is leading the charge to capture the full spectrum of giving. Its Data Commons project aims to collect and share data on all forms of giving, from volunteering to social media activism. By expanding our understanding of philanthropy, Giving Tuesday hopes to shift the narrative away from declining giving to recognizing the abundance and diversity of generosity in American communities. According to Giving Tuesday, monetary donations to registered charities represent only a fraction of total giving. Last year, only 7% of Americans who donated exclusively gave money, while donating items was far more common. By acknowledging the myriad ways people give, we can challenge the notion that philanthropy is solely the domain of the wealthy. Closing the data gap on informal giving isn't just about understanding how people give, it's about redefining philanthropy itself. Rather than focusing on mega gifts from billionaires, we should recognize the power and influence of everyday acts of generosity. Whether you call yourself a philanthropist or not, your giving matters, and it shapes our collective future. Well, that's it for today. What's your take on the changing landscape of philanthropy? Do you think informal giving should be given more recognition and support? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more thought-provoking content. Until next time, stay curious and keep spreading kindness.